is that the classified information and unclassified, it's public, showed that our intelligence discovered that not that long ago, Iran had developed the supreme leader, now dead is fried chicken, but they have a new supreme leader, had developed a new game plan for their nuclear weapons program. And their game plan was to jack up missile, both ballistic and cruise missile production and drone production, and put together this huge stockpile of missiles and drones, at which point they would turn to the United States and Israel and the rest of the world and say, we're going to restart our nuclear weapons program. If you bomb us again, like you did in June, we will destroy the Middle East. And by the way, our missiles can now reach Berlin and London and Paris.
Welcome back. You are looking at the surgical deconstruction of a regime that tried to play a high-stakes game of nuclear chicken and lost. Senator John Kennedy didn't step into this room to exchange pleasantries. He came to strip away the facade of a country that held European capitals in its crosshairs. He just exposed a chilling strategic reality. Tehran wasn't merely tinkering with rockets. They were jacking up an industrial-scale arsenal. Ballistic, cruise, and suicide drones specifically designed to create a blackmail shield. The scheme was clear. Hold London and Paris hostage as human shields while they finalized a nuclear warhead in the dark. This wasn't just a threat. It was a move toward total geopolitical paralysis of the West. They believed that by jacking up their conventional production, they could create a permanent state of fear that would force Washington and Tel Aviv into submission. But as Kennedy so ruthlessly highlighted, that game plan evaporated the moment their leadership was turned into fried chicken. We're moving past the typical political theater here to examine how this administration's military posture actually decapitated a global extortion racket. Watch as Secretary Pete Hegseth is forced to validate the absolute necessity of crushing a regime that used conventional terror to buy time for nuclear weapons.
Is that my understanding of one of the reasons, the main reason we went into Iran?
I think that's pretty well articulated, Senator, that they were trying to use the umbrella of their established conventional stockpiles to blackmail the rest of the world in pursuit of their own nuclear weapons.
Pretty well articulated. That is Pete Hegseth essentially admitting that Kennedy has officially detonated the myth of Iranian strength. This campaign wasn't just about tactical points. It was a preemptive strike against a global blackmail machine before it hit the point of no return. Now, let's audit the wreckage. While the mainstream talking heads and the anti-war lobbyists cry about a quagmire, the declassified metrics tell a story of total institutional collapse. Kennedy isn't just describing a defeat, he's describing a nation-state currently held together by spit and duct tape. This is a regime stripped of its teeth, its air defenses, and its very dignity. When Kennedy talks about a 70% unemployment rate and 70% inflation, he's describing a country that has suffered a complete skeletal collapse. Its nervous system is shattered. Its internet is dark. Imagine a former regional power so hollowed out that their skies are now an open highway for anyone with a cockpit. We are watching a systemic meltdown in real time, a strategic suffocation that has left the Ayatollahs clinging to a broken infrastructure. Listen as Kennedy audits the victories that the media is too afraid to acknowledge.
Now let's talk about Iran today. Can we agree that Iran, both the public and the private sector, is being held together right now with spit and duct tape?
Spit and duct tape is not a doctrinal term, Senator, but I would agree with something along those lines.
It's a Louisiana term. I mean, 7 out of 10 Iranians are out of work. We bomb their infrastructure. They've got 70% inflation. Their internet's shut off. You know better than I do what we've done on the military side. Their launchers, gone. Their missiles, for the most part, gone. Their drones, gone. Do they have some left? Yeah. Their Navy, gone. Their Air Force, gone. You can get in an airplane, you personally, and fly anywhere you want to across Iran right now and feel safe because they don't have any air defenses.
Navy gone, Air Force gone, air defense is non-existent. This isn't a mere military setback. It's the total liquidation of a civilization's ability to exert force. Kennedy's Cessna analogy is the ultimate humiliation. The Secretary of Defense could take a Sunday flight over Tehran, and the Ayatollahs couldn't even throw a rock at him. They are a sovereign nation that has effectively lost the sovereign part. But here is the silent killer, the part that ensures this regime stays in the dirt for a generation. It's not just about the bombs, it's about the economic physics of a dying engine. Kennedy points to the low-pressure oil fields, and this is where realism hits the floor. Most people don't realize that oil fields aren't just faucets you can turn back on. Once you lose the pressure, the cost to recover those wells becomes astronomical. It's a geological death warrant. If you think Iran can just reboot their economy after the blockade, Kennedy is here to explain why physics says that's a hallucination. Once those wells lose pressure, the regime's lifeblood stops flowing forever, leaving them with nothing but empty pipes and a dead future.
I don't understand how we've lost. Is the strait closed? Yes. But if we continue that blockade, where nothing's going in and nothing's going out, eventually they're going to have to shut down their oil fields, are they not? Half of their oil fields are low pressure. Once they put them down, they're not going to get them back up. Am I missing something here?
No, that's why the president is right when he says we hold all the cards, and we do. And we've got the best deal maker in the world able to make the best deal for the United States of America. And if we have to go back at it as the Department of War, we're ready to do that as well.
Once they put them down, they're not going to get them back up. That is the sound of a permanent economic lobotomy. We didn't just break their sword, we dismantled the factory that makes it. But let's kill the savior myth. The critics love to say China or Russia will just bail them out. Kennedy exposes that for the fantasy it is. China isn't a charity. They are a cold, calculating predator. They aren't going to pour billions into a sinkhole that can't defend itself or pump its own oil. In the ruthless world of global finance, no one is writing $1 trillion check for a fried chicken regime with no air, force and dead wells. Kennedy forces the committee to face the math. $1 trillion in 20 years just to reach a baseline of survival. That is an investment with zero return. Tehran has become a strategic liability, a black hole that will swallow any currency thrown into it. Kennedy's logic is a total wrecking ball to the idea that Tehran has any lifeline left in the East.
It will be, in my opinion, 20 years and cost $1 trillion before they're even back somewhat to normal. And I don't have the slightest idea where they're going to get the money. If they think China's going to give it to them or Russia, they've got to learn a hard lesson. To that extent, have we achieved our objective in Iran?
Objective, as this president has stated from the beginning, is to ensure they don't get a nuclear weapon, and President Trump remains dedicated to ensuring that happens. And everything you described with the military degradation of their country was in service of ensuring they never get a nuclear weapon.
This is what...
$1 trillion in 20 years. That's the invoice for trying to bully the United States. Despite this absolute structural erasure of a global threat, the Washington Beltway, specifically the Democratic camp, is still trying to frame this total victory as a failure. They are so consumed by their political opposition that they refuse to see the scoreboard. Kennedy has a very specific footnote for them. He offers Hegseth a reality check on the blood pressure of dealing with partisans who would rather see the world burn than see the president win a major strategic victory. He also pivots to the most misunderstood part of America First. The media calls it isolation. Kennedy calls it leading from the front, where everyone else pays their fair share. It's about building a coalition where allies are actual partners, not dependents. This is the new, cold reality of 21st century power. If you want America's protection, you carry your weight.
Now, many of my Democratic friends are now trying to say we have lost. Here's a footnote. You're not going to get Democratic support. They're not. They're not going to support you, Mr. Secretary, because they don't support President Trump. I know that's not a newsflash. But they say we've lost. I don't get it. I don't understand how we've lost. Is the strait closed? Yes. But if we continue that blockade, where nothing's going in and nothing's going out, eventually they're going to have to shut down their oil fields, are they not? Half of their oil fields are low pressure. Once they put them down, they're not going to get them back up. Am I missing something here?
No, that's why the president is right when he says we hold all the cards, and we do. And we've got the best deal maker in the world able to make the best deal for the United States of America. And if we have to go back at it as the Department of War, we're ready to do that as well.
Well, keep two things in mind. You're not going to win over my Democratic friends. It's not worth getting your blood pressure up. Focus on other things. And number two, just keep this in mind. America first does not have to mean America alone. America first does not have to mean America alone. We need all the friends we can get. They need to carry their own weight. They need to pay their bills. But the more the better.
America first does not have to mean America alone, but it does mean the free ride is officially over. Kennedy just placed one of the world's most controversial governments under intense public scrutiny, and the message was unmistakable. The old Iran is fading fast. Their strategy was shredded, their leaders are fried chicken, and their military power has been liquidated. They are currently clinging to life with spit and duct tape while waiting for a $1 trillion ghost from China that will never appear. This isn't the realism of the DC elite. It's the cold, hard fact that the U.S. is holding every single card. In this deck, while the media cries over tactical details and irrelevant political friction, the nuclear threat has been buried under the weight of dead oil fields and 70% inflation. We have fundamentally shifted the balance of power, and it was done by choosing action over wish fulfillment. If this video helped you bypass the quagmire lies and see the true strategic win, hit like and share. Don't let them bury the facts. Drop a comment below. Is the regime truly fried chicken now? Subscribe for more truths they want hidden. This was a masterclass in global accountability. I'll see you in the next one.